Keir Starmer is completely cooked.
Let me be clear, these are really tough results.
Well, Keir, let me be clear. You are done.
Well, he's just woken up to a nightmare this morning, and it's a nightmare that keeps going throughout the day. Nigel Farage has just come in and planted a massive flag in Labour heartlands. I mean, it's absolutely apocalyptic for Labour. I don't think it could have been any worse.
Martyn, you're in Parliament. What are Labour MPs secretly plotting behind the scenes?
Well,
the local election results are in, and Keir Starmer is completely cooked. Here's the latest results at the time of recording. Listen to this. Reform have got more than 600 extra council seats. The Lib Dems an extra 31. The Conservatives are down 264. And Labour, now listen to this, Labour are down over 400 seats. And we've barely got through about a quarter of the tally so far. Absolutely nuts. In terms of councils, Labour have lost 11 councils. The Lib Dems have gained 2. Conservatives have lost 2. And Reform have gained 3 councils. A load of those have gone into no overall control, so no one controls them anymore. It's so bad for Labour. This Welsh Labour minister is already coming out. Barely a vote has been counted. He's already come out and said, we're not going to form the next government. They've given up. They've thrown the towel in before anything's even begun. A former Gordon Brown advisor, a member of Scottish Labour, is saying Scottish Labour has been pumped. And Starmer has said, Starmer himself is saying, let me be clear, these are really tough results. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Well, Keir, let me be clear, you are done. Martyn, Starmer saying he's taking full responsibility for these results. What looks to be one of the Labour's worst ever election results. Surely he's going to resign now.
Well, he's just woken up to a nightmare this morning, and it's a nightmare that keeps going throughout the day.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely apocalyptic for Labour. I don't think it could have been any worse. They're losing, as you say, all over the country, Wales, Scotland. And the reason for that is voters are just fed up with Starmer. They've turned their nose up at him. And Nigel Farage has just come in and planted a massive flag in Labour heartlands in the north, Tory heartlands in the south, and it's just a turquoise wave across the country now.
I mean, there's a really surprising one. We'll come to it a bit more later, but Reform won Wakefield. Apparently, it's been Labour since the 1970s. That just sort of speaks, really, doesn't it, to just how bad this is for Labour. You've mentioned he's got a big reset speech on Monday. Is he not planning to resign? He's planning to cling on. Tell us about that. What's this all about?
Well, he seems desperate to stay in power, and he's preempted the bloodbath from today by announcing that he's going to be doing a speech on Monday. We're not quite sure what it's going to be. It's another reset for him. We're thinking it could be some stuff on child poverty, all the usual kind of soft left Labour stuff, and maybe also some a possible reset on the EU. Is he going to tear up his red lines on the single market and the customs union, which will provoke an almighty furore among Brexiteers and the right?
I mean, it seems a weird strategy to sort of go, we've lost a ton of seats to Reform, so what we should do is just go back into the EU.
Well, that's Starmer for you, isn't it? He's going to lurch to the left, and he's just going to try and open old wounds on the EU. He's been unpicking Brexit for the last 2 years. I don't think he's got much longer to survive, really.
How many resets are we on now, Martyn? You work in Parliament, I don't. You've probably been counting. What are we on now?
I mean, it could be anywhere between 3 and 10. I mean, this is probably the official third one. I remember being there for one of them, at Pinewood Studios, actually, and that one didn't go too well.
It's hard to see how reforms to child welfare, the EU is going to save this man. Do you reckon he could go after pensions as well, perhaps, sort of state pension triple lock?
There's been chatter of that. He's kind of said in the past that he would keep the triple lock, but that possibly be one of the things he could go for. Some people argue that it's expensive, and Labour have allowed the welfare bill to balloon. I think a lot of our readers and viewers would think he should cut welfare bill rather than the triple lock.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine a lot of our viewers will be agreeing with that. Tell us what you think in the comments. So back to Starmer. He said he had no plans to resign. Woof. Miliband's already out for him. There was a report in the Times yesterday, wasn't there, that Miliband's basically told him in private, look, mate, just step aside. Don't let this become a big civil war. Just move on. You're cooked. Burnham too, it seems, was out for him. He had a speech ready this morning, right, Martyn? Andy Burnham was readying a speech, and then he cancelled it at the last minute.
Yeah, he was supposed to be doing a speech at the Festival of Youth up in Manchester. I'm not quite sure what that is, but anyway, he can't. Last night about 10 o'clock, it was announced that he was not going to attend this festival and not going to do the speech. Think of that what you may. Maybe he was under pressure not to appear. Maybe he thought the results today were going to be so bad that he'd just get questioned about it all the time. But it's it's a little bit fishy. And as you say about Miliband, he supposedly had this private chat with Starmer, setting out a timetable for his departure.
Yeah. Now he's got a union backer, the TSSA. They're like a transport union, right? TSSA, they're saying they want him gone. They're not going to support Starmer anymore. John Trickett, a veteran Labour MP, is saying it's curtains for Starmer. But it's not all bad news. Listen to this. Diane Abbott says Keir Starmer should stay. Martyn, has he been saved by Diane Abbott?
The irony of it. I mean, can you believe it? Yeah, I was gobsmacked to hear that. But she says it's not the right time to be getting rid of a leader, prime minister. But she's not been his biggest fan in the past. She went for him actually in the Commons last week over Peter Mandelson. Her speech really kind of hushed tones in the Commons really set the tone on that. But when Diane Abbott's your saviour, you know you're in real trouble.
Yes, he is in deep, deep trouble. There are also rumours going around in the papers this morning that there are many MPs moving to push Starmer out. They're going to request a timetable for his exit, basically. That's the plan next week. The thinking is they'll come back from the weekend and go, right, Starmer, we want a timetable off you. When are you going to go and how? This is what the bookies think the next Labour leader will be. Andy Burnham is the favourite. Angela Rayner is second. We're Streeting third, and Ed Miliband fourth. Martyn, you're in Parliament. What are Labour MPs secretly plotting behind the scenes?
Well, I think, as you said, they're going to wait for this speech on Monday. Let the dust settle from the election battering over the weekend. There's still a few more results to come over on Saturday, and then see what he offers up in this speech. But that could be the moment when they think, if they're not happy with it, if they're not pleased with what he has to say, that could be the moment when one of those four sticks their head up above the parapet and kind of makes a push for the top job.
Yeah,
but they're not. All of them have got problems. Andy Burnham, he's had two goes before. I've interviewed him way back 15 years ago when he went first time in 2010. 2014, and he failed to beat Ed Miliband and Jeremy Corbyn on those occasions. So if he can't beat those two, then he doesn't stand much chance this time around. He's not even an MP at the moment either, so he's got those hoops to jump through.
Huge hurdles, like you say, yeah.
But he is popular.
He is. He seems to have got a bit of a personality all of a sudden. I remember the Andy Burnham of 2014 going up against Corbyn. He seemed like a bit of just a husk, bit of a vessel. Do you think have you seen a change in him?
Well, he's got this kind of Andy Manchester vibe going on now. But it's one thing being a big fish in a smallish pond, but once you get down to Westminster, it's a
tough old place.
It's a big
it's a rough place. Rayner, her chances look to be slightly damaged. Her constituency, Ashton-under-Lyme, Reform now control the council, or they're well up there. At any rate, what does that mean for Rayner? Are her chances of taking over from Starmer just long and gone? They dead?
Yeah, but I think she was under pressure anyway because of this whole tax situation that she's been embroiled in, which got her the sack last year by Starmer. That's still not cleared up. Reform are moving in now. Tameside, they've won overnight, and she's not sure of winning the next general election if she stays in that seat. So there was that whole suggestion that she was going to do what you call a chicken run down to the south coast, and that's where the House problems arose. So she's not a shoo-in, and she's not popular with the public.
No, but she's very popular with the party, right?
Yeah, she could win. She's popular with MPs. She's popular with the party, so she could get through that. But why would you elect someone as leader who is not popular with the general public and might not win you a general election?
Speaking of which, Ed Miliband, Last of the four in the bookies' estimations. What do you think of his chances?
Net zero.
Very good. Very good. Right, on that note, if you're enjoying this episode so far, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, we really need it. Just get us up there to nearly 500,000 now. And don't forget to smash the hype button. It helps us get up the feed, helps us break through the rest of the mainstream media. Right, Martyn, we'll go on to reform. Nigel Farage said today was a big, big day and a truly historic shift in British politics. Reform's taken seats from both Labour and the Tories, right and left. Sky News are predicting that Reform will get roughly 31% of the vote share, which puts them roughly around about sort of general election majority territory. They've won Wakefield, which was, like we said earlier, Labour since the 70s. They've won Essex, the biggest county in England, Havering in London, Suffolk and Newcastle under Lyme. Are Reform unstoppable now? Have they won the next general election?
They're not there yet, but they are in a very, very strong position now. I mean, these results are massive for Reform. I've been out campaigning with Nigel Farage a few times over the last few months, really, and I've interviewed him a couple of times, and they've thrown their kitchen sink at this. This is a big staging post for them, and I think they're going to get pretty close to what they wanted. 31%, as you say, is a big figure for them. They're well clear of the pack. And they've seized Labour heartlands, red wall seats in Hartlepool and the like, which didn't even turn blue in the Boris 2019 election. So to achieve that is quite something. It's staggering results overnight. And as you say, in Essex, which is kind of ground zero for the Tories, the Kemi Badenoch seat is in Essex. A lot of her shadow cabinet, James Cleverly, Priti Patel, they're all Essex MPs, and Reform have just kind of had a wipeout there and moved in.
I mean, Nigel Farage was gloating actually just now. He said Kemi would lose her own seat if a general election were held today to Reform. She's cancelled out any possibility of a deal between those two, right? She's not. Why is that?
Well, she doesn't want to be seen to be saying that she'd do a deal because she wants those kind of wavering right-wing voters to go to her, not to Reform. But she's always going to say that until the push comes to real shove closer to the election time. And then, I mean, there's no love lost between those two, Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage. So whether they'll ever come to some kind of agreement, I don't know.
So moving on to the Tories, Kemi Badenoch says this is the beginning, not the end for the Conservatives, and that they're making a comeback. But they've lost how many seats? They've lost over 200 seats, and that's at the time of recording. They've also lost over 200 seats, and she's claiming this is a comeback. Is Kemi out of her mind?
No, because she's improved her own popularity massively in the last 12 months, particularly in the last 6 months. She gave this amazing speech at the Tory party conference, some real eye-catching policies. She's doing really well in PMQs. And she's forced the government into lots of U-turns. She's led the charge on the Mandelson scandal. They had some wins in London, some key wins in London, Westminster and Wandsworth, Harlow as well in Essex. So there's a few kind of glimmers of hope there. But I think that it's going to be a tough job to claw this one back now, despite her own popularity. Still a drag. The party's still a drag on her.
What exactly about the party is a drag on her, do you think? Just the legacy or the people around her? Because no offence to some of the Tories around her, but not the sort of best talent in the world, are they?
Is the legacy. It's the legacy of 14 years. She's tried to turn that round. She tried to, apologise in the first year and of her leadership. There's some suggestion that, it takes a couple of years at least for the public to forgive and forget. But again, we come back to Nigel Farage. In history, he's never been there. There's never been another party. So another party like that, she's got that to contend with. And I just wonder whether, that she's never going to out-reform, whether they maybe tack towards the middle ground a bit more, centre right. The Labour are going to go to the left. And there's a huge area there which the Lib Dems seem to be benefiting from. I know we said we weren't going to mention them, but
yeah, we don't talk about Lib Dems on this podcast. There's
sorry,
certain lines.
Sorry, James. I'm
Nazis,
new on the
Lib
podcast.
Dems. So. there's red lines. I've got my red lines. I won't go that way, and I won't go to the no.
But
screw
that
Lib
could
Dems.
that could be a way back for them. Whether she's going to do that, she's quite strident on her views, so she might not do that. But.
She doesn't seem like the sort of wet liberal Tory type.
No. But there's a way of doing it.
Yeah, interesting. Just a bit of an aside on the Tories. Zia Youssef, Reform UK's sort of what is he now? They keep changing their role so much.
Home Affairs spokesman.
Home Affairs spokesperson. There we are. He says no more Conservative defectors will be welcomed into Reform. Do you think these results have played into that somewhat? Do you think they've just gone, everyone hates Tories. These guys are a busted flush. We can't be seen with them anymore.
Yeah, a lot of that. Although I think if a big name Tory did try to defect, they would welcome them.
You got any scoops, Martyn? You sound like you know something there.
Well, there's still a few names that have been knocking around. I'm not saying they're big names, but big names. I think Generic and Suella Braverman, they're the two biggest. You're not going to get much bigger than that. But
yeah.
If there was certain figures, perhaps Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg, I know he's ruled it out. If he were to go, then they would welcome them.
So if I would say to you, Mel Stride?
I can't imagine Mel Stride going. But.
Okay. Lastly, we'll move on to, this is sort of the elephant in the room, the one we're all actually worried about, the Green Party and the sort of Gaza/Muslim issue independence. The Greens have had a okay show. I mean, we were sort of hearing before the election results, the Greens, it's all about the Greens. They're going to smash Labour. They're going to take over the whole of London. I mean, they've got the Hackney mayoralty, but so far, it seems okay, right? It doesn't seem like they've not swept the board. They've not had the huge wins. They've not taken over cities, thank God. They've just taken over Hackney, and, Hackney's a bit of a godforsaken place anyway. How have the Greens done, Martyn? Is it as good as it seems, or...?
Not quite as good as it seems, because I think the whole anti-Semitism row over the last few weeks and Polanski's remarks over the Golders Green attacks and the police, I think has tarnished him somewhat, and I don't think they're quite going to do it as well. I mean, let's not forget, they were nothing not that long ago, and they've had this massive rise fueled by Polanski being... quite a character, some weird policies, and the whole thing about, the hypnotizing women and breasts and things like that. He's got the name Walter Titty, if I can say that, and that kind of played well for him. But I think the anti-Semitism stuff has really tipped it over the edge, and the public hate that. They don't like that, rightly so, and it's diminishing their result, and you can see that. They'll still do well, but maybe not quite as well as they thought. And
no, I mean, like, an extra 61 seats doesn't sound like a great victory. I mean, the Lib Dems are sort of in roughly the same territory. Yeah, all we heard about before the elections was how well the Greens are supposedly going to do. We haven't had any results from Birmingham yet at the time of recording. Can you see the Greens doing well there? It seems to be those kind of metropolitan areas where there's a large amount of diversity, and also a large amount, like particularly Muslim areas where they're particularly concerned about Gaza. The Greens seem to have the most support, at least on the street, sort of what you can see in people's windows, out and about. Yeah,
you're right. At the time of recording, I think a lot of the stronger Green areas, like the metropolitan centres, haven't declared their results yet. And there's been a lot of that type of voting going on. We saw it in the Gorton and Denton by-election, which saw Hannah Spencer elected, and it's no doubt it's going to be going on in Birmingham as well. Yeah.
Lastly, on the Greens, they're eyeing big scalps apparently in Scotland. This is what's going around all the newsrooms at the minute. What's going on there? I mean, I don't know. I'm not sort of super au fait with some politics stuff. Why are the Greens doing well in Scotland? I thought that was kind of SNP territory. What's going on there?
I mean, Scotland's in flux at the moment. It was SNP, then it's Labour, right. Now it's veering back to SNP. I think the core issue coming through here is actually environmental factors, core green factors on right. Kind of green energy and things like that, which is why they're doing well in certain areas up there. But again, it's just going to be a massive horror show for Labour, and the SNP look like they're coming back.
Well, dire times in some parts of the country, great times in others. I think it would be fair to say. Look, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget, hit like and subscribe. Hit the hype button. We really need you to push us up the feed, get us in front of more viewers. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.